A formal greeting to everybody. This very somewhat awkward beginning to these Zoom sessions. If you've been doing them for the last few weeks, I'm sure you realize that they can be very entertaining at times, very informal, but a hearty Maine hello to all of you. I hope you and your family and friends are doing well during these very strange times. I'm John Diamond. I'm the President and Executive Director of the Alumni Association, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this virtual coffee break with our President Joan Ferrini-Mundy. As I mentioned a little while ago, we've got 166 alumni and friends that registered for this session. Our participation this morning has a pretty broad range. It ranges from a member of the class of 1954, a class that just celebrated its 65th reunion last fall, and members of the class of 2019 who just graduated less than a year ago. So a great range of alums. So we welcome all of you. I'm about to turn things over to President Ferrini-Mundy. Many of you have met her before, but I realize that not all of you have, but you know of her. She's been our president now for almost 2 years. And she came to the University of Maine from the National Science Foundation, where she was the Chief Operations Officer, a very important responsibility and a very large job. She's been a great partner to the Alumni Association, and she's also been a great state leader and campus leader. And but because of the pandemic, there's no question that her leadership is being tested like no other president in UMaine's history. We're extremely fortunate to have her at the helm. And with that, let me turn things over to President Ferrini-Mundy.
Thank you so much, John. Good morning, everybody. I'm very sorry about the last 3 or 4 minutes. I've actually been on with a little note that says, the host must unmute you. So it's one of the rare occasions where I was like really ready to talk and I couldn't figure out how to get unmuted, but we've now taken care of that. So, so thank you all. And it's great to see so many familiar faces and to be able to say hello in this new way of communicating that we all are learning. The idea of this really is I think due to John Diamond and Julia Muncy, whom I'd like to thank. Great support and leadership coming from the Alumni Association and board, and we really are such fine partners. I appreciate the chance to get to talk to all of you. And this will largely be questions and answers. I'll just make a few remarks because we really want to get to what's on your minds. And some questions have already been coming in, so we'll start with those. Really would like to thank those of you who've been working with our enrollment management area to correspond with and call UMaine students, prospective students at least, who would be UMaine legacy students. And we think that this is starting to pay off, so we can hear more from enrollment management in a little bit to get a sense of how things are looking. But your efforts to help students realize what a wonderful place the University of Maine is and to send them our way right now needed more than ever because we really are very concerned about the entire sort of class of graduating seniors across the country in many ways is so deeply affected by this that their college plans are up in the air, and they'll need encouragement from folks like yourselves about choosing great places. So we hope you'll continue with that. We also know that the Alumni Association is doing very good work with our UMaine Career Center, which is quite important. The high school graduating seniors have one set of challenges. Our graduating seniors have another set of challenges, right? We've needed to move to a virtual recognition week and commencement celebrations, and also are planning for a commencement in the fall when we can be back together safely. But at the same time, those graduating students are looking for jobs. And so any of your collaborations with our Career Center and otherwise to help them with coaching and career counseling, very, very important right now. I understand there's going to be a new Q&A video series featuring alums in various professions. And so we'll look forward to that. Want to thank all of you also who contributed to the Student Crisis Fund. The University of Maine Foundation was able to put that up very quickly and get publicity out. And that has just been enormously important for so many of our students who are struggling. And so we appreciate that. And Robert Dana, who administered that work, may wish to say more as we get to him. Let's see, want to be sure that I mentioned that you're going to have a special edition of Maine Alumni Magazine with testimonials about the way the pandemic has affected everyone's lives, and your alumni impact study that was commissioned jointly by the Alumni Association and being conducted by the Margaret Chase Smith Policy Center is coming along as well. So here at the university, I'm hoping that you've been able to follow us at least to some extent by looking at our website and watching various news and communications. It's been an amazing several weeks. It's been a gratifying several weeks too. We were able to put students first, I think successfully, under very difficult circumstances. Our faculty managed in just over 2 weeks to convert their courses. And I see faculty out there, I know that you're a part of this and can comment perhaps further, but managed to rethink their instruction in ways that would enable students to access it remotely. Much of it online, but not all of it. Sometimes there are other ways that the faculty are communicating with students, but in any case, the goal was to serve our students where they are, addressing the needs that they have, and to do that well. And I believe we've done a phenomenal job as you all, as faculty, our faculty have been remarkable. In addition, all of the other offices and units that support the academic and student life mission have been remarkable as well. We have everything from individual calls going out from dean's offices to the students we haven't heard from for a few days, to student life stepping up, all kinds of approaches to counseling and student wellness through online and telemedicine kinds of approaches, to our athletics folks coming up with just wonderful ways to engage and connect us to athletics, that everybody get to see us win again, the 93 hockey championship. That was really fun on Saturday. To the arts areas, which are doing terrific work to provide ideas for community engagement with the arts, with music, with theater, with the visual arts. And so we have had just an incredible outpouring of creativity on this campus by the people who work here and who are our partners, and the people that we are working to serve, which is our students. The challenges also have, of course, been quite significant. We know that there are students who face enormous need, and we're doing our best to try to support them and be in touch with them, but we know there are some that are still struggling, and we still need to hear from them. Our research mission has been changed in very sort of compelling and interesting and also challenging ways, in that we, first of all, have been able to pivot in quite substantial ways to support and help the state of Maine. And so there's a lot about this that you can see on our websites, everything from working to provide PPE from a variety of parts of a university that actually turn out to have PPE, ranging from areas of engineering to, of course, our health and medical areas, to the production of hand sanitizer, hospital grade hand sanitizer that is going out to Maine hospitals and healthcare facilities as we speak, to an innovation group led by Jake Ward that coordinates people from the Maine manufacturing organizations and other healthcare organizations and university researchers and developers to produce a variety of solutions to problems that are faced across the state of Maine in the healthcare related areas. And increasingly, our scientists, economists, epidemiologists are starting to, they have been, but we're starting to hear some of their findings, look at how this all is playing out in Maine and what it looks like as we start to get ready for fall, and what our lives might be like at that time. With that, I really should turn to the rest of the team that's on this call and be sure that everyone's been introduced. Let me just be sure I get there. And I'll ask the panelists to introduce themselves in this order. It'll be Faye, Robert, Claire, Chris, Ken, and Jeff. And if we could just hear from each of you.
Good morning. My name is Faye Gilbert. I am the Interim Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Provost, and Dean of the Undergraduate School of Business. I am very grateful to be part of this community. I've never seen the kind of collaborative effort and community culture that pervades the University of Maine and its people. And I have, while feeling the difficulty of the challenge, I've just been honored, for lack of a better word, to work with the team of people, faculty, deans, directors, cabinet, students, that are here. So I'm proud of you as alumni. You made a good choice at some point in time to be here and part of the University of Maine. Look forward to working with you further.
Hi, folks. It's Robert Dana. I'm not the new interim, but I'm the old vice president for student affairs and dean of students. And it's so wonderful to see all of you. When I look across all the pages on this Zoom, I realize how much I miss so many of you, and how this is a time of year when we would see a lot of you. And so it's sort of painful. This is a good example of how we pivoted to the modern time, but it's not a suitable replacement for human contact. And we're finding that, of course, with our students too. So there's a lot of heavy lifting going on to make sure that our students are still engaged, that they know where their alma mater is, that they feel love coming from Orono, and that's working, but we're beginning to sense that people want to get back on campus. And of course, we want them back on campus. And as all of you know, this is the time of graduation, so it's particularly bittersweet. We're sending lots of folks off to greatness, but we're not with them physically. So we're working here to do what you would want us to do, and I deeply appreciate everything everybody did to help us with that crisis fund. We raised some $150,000 rather quickly, and it was spent rather quickly because the variety of needs that people have are long, broad, and deep, and we were very happy to be able to help people. So it's good to see you. It's good to be with you, and I hope you're all staying safe.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Claire Strickland. I'm Chief Business Officer for the University of Maine and the University of Maine at Machias. But most importantly, I'm part of you. I'm an alumnus of the University of Maine, and it will be 45 years this year. So I came to UMaine and never left. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I consider it a wonderful thing. So welcome to all of you. I see some familiar faces, and please stay safe.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Richards. I'm the Interim Vice President of Enrollment Management, and I am on the Claire Strickland career path. I showed up in the fall of 2006 myself as a student, and UMaine became my home. 2 degrees and a career later. Originally from Dixfield, Maine. I do see some familiar faces and fellow alums. I see Mr. Nate Kinney in the crowd, who actually married my wife and I. A few years back. So this is really exciting. I want to, on a personal note, thank John Diamond and all the team who are assisting us in outreach and recruitment of our students. The Legacy Letter and Outreach campaign is a really powerful and exciting component of this new wave of enrollment management and recruitment that we have launched here at the University of Maine. I think Robert really made a great point about human contact and coming together with people being so important. And one of the most powerful recruitment tools we've always had is our campus experience and getting people to come to UMaine to see campus and physically be here. But that's just not in the cards right now. So much like the faculty had to learn how to teach and convert courses all online in a number of days, we had to shift our entire recruitment campaign and effort to this experience we're having now. So I have to applaud the campus community as a whole, from academics to athletics to everyone, with the amount of virtual content we've put out there, and the ability to have people experience what makes UMaine so great from afar. Just 2 days ago, I actually spoke to a student from California who they deposited, and they said, we've never been to UMaine, but how we've interacted with people and how welcome we've been made to feel through the internet makes us feel so confident in this decision that we're coming to UMaine. And so such a powerful testament to the culture and climate we have here. In terms of how enrollment's looking, these transitions and changes to new strategies are critical to our sustained efforts. Typically, and when we look at our when we look at our first year recruitment, have 1,350 to 1,450 students, and we're right at around that 1,400 mark in terms of deposited first year students, and we're actually up 5% in transfers. So this is because of a major undertaking that we are seeing encouraging indicators of enrollment for the fall. There is a lot of unknown, make no mistake. I wish I had a crystal ball and could tell everyone exactly how this is going to go, but we're doing a lot of great work. And because of that great work, we are encouraged and optimistic and looking forward to, a successful year and being open in the fall one way or the other, whether it be virtually or on campus. We're moving forward despite the challenges. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Ken Ralph. I'm Director of Athletics. Like everybody else who's already chimed in, I've been scrolling through the pages of faces who've joined us, and I'm very pleasantly surprised that even though I've only been here a couple of years, I recognize many, many faces on this call. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for keeping the energy and spirit of the University of Maine alive. As you can imagine, it's a difficult time for our students not getting an opportunity to participate, and seeing our winter sport athletes, especially in women's basketball and men's ice hockey, who are competing for championships, not get an opportunity to finish their journey was difficult, and our spring sport athletes never got their seasons going. It was hard this weekend. It was absolutely beautiful up here, and I should have been at softball games and baseball games, and instead I was raking my yard. It didn't feel right to me. But we're doing everything we can to keep everybody energized and to keep the Maine brand front and center for everyone. We've got a lot of creative content out through our social media platforms. I hope everybody enjoyed the replay of the '93 National Championship game. Absolutely incredible feedback from that, so that was a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing some really fun things in the month of May, where we're going to be doing a bracket-style highlight challenge, where you can vote for your all-time favorite UMaine athletic moments and have a little bit of fun with that. So we're going to try to invoke a little bit of nostalgia and have a little bit of fun. But more than anything, we want to keep the passion and spirit and energy of the UMaine brand alive. And we're going to keep doing that until they lift all these social distancing protocols and we can get back to playing games. So thanks for joining us today.
Hi, I'm Jeff Mills. I'm President and CEO of the University of Maine Foundation. Very pleased to see so many faces out there that I recognize in Black Bear Nation today. The UMaine Foundation Board, which is headed by Maria Fuentes and Bob Strong as our chair and our vice chair, moved very quickly to have us set up off campus. So we are fully operational, even though we are working from home. So pleased to have all the support of our foundation staff out there that help with some very exciting things that are still going on. Many of you may have seen that we just received the naming gift from Don and Linda Zillman to name the downtown Bangor Museum for the University of Maine there. Not only will that be the naming gift to help out, but it will also increase our function space down there so that we are able to display much more of our art from our vaults. So we're very excited about that. Also, a week from today, at 1 o'clock on April 28th, we are doing our virtual groundbreaking for the new Jim and Eileen Ferland Engineering, Education, and Design Center. That is the largest fundraising capital project in the University of Maine's history for the new engineering building here at the Orono campus, and we're very excited about that. If you don't have the information for that, if you just go to the UMaine Foundation website, and we hope you can join us at 1 o'clock next week for that, April 28th. Dean Dana Humphrey has a great virtual tour of what the building will look like, and there will be a lot of other exciting activities on there that you'll want to see. So I hope you can join us for that. Also, as been mentioned, we went over our goal already for the Student Crisis Fund, and thank you for all that have given to that. And if you want any more information about that, that is also on the UMaine Foundation website. We realize that everybody's first priority should be for their own personal safety and also their own financial situations that they may be going through, but we have had many people contact us and give hundreds of gifts during this time period because they wanted to do something to help out the University of Maine. So I would say, particularly for those of you that are alums out there, any way that you can help with the yield to make sure that we get people here for the fall, no matter how we open, that's going to be critical for our budgets. And also any way that people feel comfortable with helping out with giving to the UMaine Foundation, you can do that through our website. Thank you all very, very much.
Thanks, everybody. I just want to remind people that there is a way to ask questions, and I'm watching the questions as they come in. And it's to send an email or text, I guess, to umaine.alerts@maine.edu. That's umaine.alerts@maine.edu. And we do have a few questions that have come in, but before we go to those, let me add a couple of additional specific thank yous. I do see that Bob Strong and Maria Fuentes are with us. I want to thank them and the foundation for great leadership during this difficult time, and tell you how much we appreciate all that has been done for our students and for our campus. It's great. Also want to recognize, and I'm not sure if John may have mentioned this, but we have, I believe, 2 of our University of Maine System Board of Trustees members and alums, Lisa Eames and Greg Johnson. I saw Lisa for a minute, but in any case, thank you. The University of Maine system has just been phenomenal through this. They are providing, through the board and the chancellor and his staff, tremendous leadership and guidance and support at a very difficult time. So we really appreciate all that everyone is doing. So the questions that are coming in, we don't have a lot yet, so please let them. I was going to hold up a sign with the question address. Maybe John can do that with the email address while we wait. But there was a question about, will the class of 2020 have a graduation? And actually, I don't know if Kimberly will be able to speak. Can you be unmuted, Kimberly?
Yes.
Kimberly Whitehead, Dr. Kimberly Whitehead, many of you have met Kimberly. She is the Chief of Staff to the President. She's been with us now almost a year, came from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, was dismayed, I think, when we got snow in mid-April. But beyond that, just a phenomenal colleague. And Kimberly has been heading up our discussions about commencement, so she can tell you where we are on that.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Happy to talk about commencement. The committee has kind of switched gears when we weren't able to have our face-to-face commencement, but we planned a student recognition week that will be observed May 4th through the 9th. And it will be a series of video messages, information about our students. It will highlight speakers like our president. We'll hear from our chancellor and board of trustees chair, outstanding faculty, outstanding students, our valedictorian and salutatorian. We've also highlighted the names of our graduates on the scoreboard at the Alfond Arena, and we have videotaped that, and that will be a part of our Student Recognition Week. In addition to, and each day we will release information and celebrate all of that week. Additionally, we are collecting information from our students for a virtual yearbook. And so that is happening also that week, and we plan to give them a commemorative gift. In terms of the face-to-face commencement planning, we continue to look for alternatives for that. And we actually had a meeting this morning at 8 a.m. and that kind of indicates the intensity and the attention that we are giving to this. And so we are looking for dates in the fall, but if students aren't able to return to the fall, once we have a designated date, we are making the May 2021 commencement available for them to attend. So we're really excited to be able to put together this Student Recognition Week. A number of people on this call, I see Lori Sedelko, she's involved with that effort as well, but we continue to plan for a fall commencement for our students.
Thank you. And John just put the address on the chat. If people are interested in sending in some questions, we can take them, of course. So thank you for that. We've had a couple of questions about the economic situation and also a little bit about what does the restart look like. And we've been working on certainly these various transitional moments in the last multiple weeks. Let me say a little bit about what we've done with research, because that's been especially particular to the University of Maine as our state's public research university, where at first we did our very best to let our labs stay open. As the governor's stay-at-home and social distancing orders came through, we realized we needed to make some adjustments. So researchers are actually needing to kind of register their plans. We can't have students in labs. We can't have too many people in any one place at any one time. And so one of our worries that's related to the economic question is whether we'll be able to get our research started back up and bring all of our students back into that in a timely way. Relative to instruction and the beginning of the fall semester, we're taking the view that we expect to be here and open and available for students within whatever the safe distancing guidelines are and whatever safety concerns we need to be addressing. But our plan, and it's been our position all along, is that we're open, we're operational, we are conducting the business of a university, definitely in new ways, but we are ongoing with that work, and we will be in the fall, and we are eager to welcome our new class of, I guess it's 2024, into the university, and we hope and are doing the planning now for that to be face-to-face. We will see what will be possible as things unfold. Same with research. In our public service areas, I do just want to again emphasize what phenomenal work so many people on this campus and in our partnerships have done. Again, I wanted to be sure I mentioned cooperative extension, which has had great reach throughout the state, working in the communities in which they work, making sure that there are ways for people to connect to each other and to access the kinds of assets that we have here at the university. So a lot going on. As for the economic situation, you all are aware, I believe, that we were able to very promptly return room and board prorated fees to all the students that were asked to leave the campus by the end of spring break. We have a very small number of students who are still here under very particular conditions for very good reasons. But our campus is largely empty, and we did return those funds. We are in the midst now of our planning for how the CARES funding, the first wave of federal relief, will be distributed to students, and that's coming very quickly. We have a meeting right after this one to talk about the details of how that will be done. But half of those dollars go directly to students, and we're glad for that. We want that to be a great support to our student base. The approach to working with the rest of those dollars is certainly underway, but it is a challenging time fiscally for the university for all of the reasons that you can imagine. Without revenues that we would normally be seeing at this time of year, coming into summer, of course, those are all challenges for us. We are also, of course, in conversation through the system and beyond with state leadership about all that's going on in the state. We have scientists who are starting to provide data and information. So there's a lot going on. Okay, the questions are coming in now, so this is terrific. What is the present protocol for making a casual visit to the campus? I guess I would say to that it's social distancing as agreed. The campus is full of people walking dogs and appropriately crossing the street to stay away from people so that they're maintaining the 6 feet. If there are particular people that you would want to see, I would strongly urge talking to them, because most of our folks are working remotely, as you can probably tell from this Zoom call. But the campus is, it's an open public space. We are asking that we observe the state's guidance about social distancing and safety. Is the College of Engineering making any medical equipment for the COVID needs with the 3D printing capability? I don't think Jake Ward is on with us. Jake, are you? So Jake is chairing a group that's called the Innovation Group that meets daily, and I try to listen in on that when I can, but it's remarkable work where we are hearing the needs from various organizations in the state, the healthcare providers largely, but also then we hear from manufacturers about what might be possible and how to coordinate it. It's turned out that some of our chemical engineering work has been incredibly important as we look at, again, the hand sanitizer and creating materials. And then our advanced manufacturing center led by John Belding has also had an important role to play as they work with providers in the state to decide what kinds of devices and materials are needed, and then how those materials get transformed or constructed or built. And we are on the verge of building certain kinds of safety and protective devices in some of our 3D printing settings. But the College of Engineering heavily involved in working with Jake's team and others across the state in providing relief and service and support through the science. I've seen billboards in New England advertising tuition. Okay, this one's for you, Chris. The question is really, I guess, about the flagship match and if that is still bringing us students, and Chris should comment if he could.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The flagship match is still a very powerful financial strategy and also brand awareness item for us. That is definitely still bringing us a significant amount of out-of-state students. I think last year we had, I think, over 30 students actually represented from 30 different states in our incoming first year class. So it's definitely a powerful tool. And when I look at our numbers, you know, currently I see significant out-of-state enrollment coming in. So it's definitely still a very powerful tool for us, for sure.
That's great. There's an interesting question here about protecting our students and scholars of Asian descent from hate and harassment, where some communities have seen an increase in this. Robert may wish to speak to this. And people may know that Robert's title was expanded in earlier this semester to include a focus on inclusive excellence, which Student Life has had and continues to have for many years, but Robert is driving us forward in that area. And Robert, what can you say about these matters of bias and discrimination?
It's a great question. It's one we've been concerned about almost from the get-go, because there's the inclination in some people to blame the other. And we've spent a lot of time in the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, sending out missives, having lunch and learns, having open discussions, open town halls to talk about people's feelings in these areas, and dispelling notions, pushing back the darkness, I guess, of xenophobia. And so far, so good. We haven't had any reported acts of bigotry or prejudice, and nothing that is standing out. But I think it's something that requires continuous attention. One of the first things Anila Karunakar did was to push back the notion that this was the Chinese virus, and I think she did that effectively.
That's great. There are several questions, let's see, about the fall, ranging from what are the budget implications for fall, and I am going to turn to Claire to say a little bit certainly about our timeline for the planning of the distribution of the CARES dollars, but also just our general, very general sense of the kinds of challenges we'll face. And also questions about how we'll decide whether to open up. Well, one thing I'll say is that the Chancellor very early on in this placed Chip Gavin from the system office in charge as our sort of operational lead. And so Chip convenes our Emergency Operations Committee representatives practically daily, perhaps daily now again, in beginning to think about what it can look like as we learn more about the conditions under which we may be able to open. But first, let me turn to Claire, and then I'll come back, and then we'll do a quick round of everyone on the panel to see if they have more to add as we close out.
So let me start with the CARES Act. The CARES Act is the dollars that will be received by the University of Maine. They total $7.6 million, half of which need to be spent on students, on direct grants to students. So $3.8 million will be distributed to students within the next few weeks, months. Decision on how to distribute those funds will be made later on this week through conversations with CBOs and the presidents. Our costs from the pandemic are more than what we're receiving federally. we have already distributed room and board fees to students, which can't be reimbursed by the CARES Act. So we're stopping unnecessary expenditures for this fiscal year through the end of June to try to mitigate the impact of those costs. For the next fiscal year, which begins in July, FY21, we're closely monitoring enrollment. We have anticipated an entering class of 2150. Chris and his staff, Chris Richards and his staff, are doing the best they can to attract those students, to admit, and to confirm. And we're ever hopeful that the class will be brought in and that we will retain most of the students, the upperclassmen that we have. We are reviewing the budget situation in case we don't meet those expectations. And we are looking once again at our base budget for the next fiscal year and perhaps making adjustments where they can be made so that we can reduce our expenditure budget if our revenues do not come in. So that process will go to one of the subcommittees of our Board of Trustees in May, our Finance, Facilities, and Technology Committee, and then be approved the following month in June to move forward into FY21. That's a broad overview.
Thank you, Claire. Relative to opening up in the fall, many questions about that. The system right now is, and I'm reading the official language, is preparing for face-to-face instruction as long as group gatherings and interactions are permissible and advisable by the end of August. So that kind of planning is beginning, and as you may expect, it's very much in the, if this, then that kind of category. If we are able to do this, then here is how we will proceed. If we are able to do that, and so forth. We here at UMaine are starting to look at the things you would expect us to look at. Large lecture courses, if those are not, if we're not able to have the kind of social distancing that is needed, what are our alternatives? And so we're starting to just get the lists and look at the schedule and look at space and all of the logistical things that you would expect to go with this. I'm going to be sure people know my direct email address, which is joan.ferrini-mundy@maine.edu, in case you need to reach me, because we're going to run out of time. Let's quickly move through the rest of our panel for kind of a last word. And we can do this again someday if people find it interesting. Faye.
We are looking to define tomorrow for the University of Maine with fall, with new ideas for innovations from the faculty. In addition to working with the budget, we are also working on innovative steps that will keep us at the forefront in science, technology, business, engineering, education, arts, music. The creativity that has been shown by this faculty and deans and others is really impressive. And I think you'll be hearing new innovative steps from us as we go forward. Good to see you today. Look forward to seeing you in person this fall.
Thanks, Faye. Jeff Mills. Okay.
Am I
well,
unmuted? There. Okay. Just
okay.
trying to unmute. Yeah, so we are still anticipating, we're finishing up the 200 million Vision for Tomorrow campaign by June 30th, and we are hopeful still that we will go over goal. I mentioned about the capital projects that were record-breaking, but we also, the overall gifts were all over the entire university, and the most money came from people giving to student scholarships. So we're very excited about that. And don't forget, a week from today, 1 o'clock, virtual groundbreaking for the new engineering building.
Chris.
I guess I'll just say I want to thank everyone for jumping on today, and also extend, if there's any folks out there who have ideas on how to recruit students or know a student in your area who maybe could benefit from having a meeting or an interview with admissions or financial aid, you can feel free to reach out to me directly at any time. I have the longest email address at this institution. It is christopher.michael.richards@maine.edu. And really would welcome any ideas or feedback or those types of things from our alumni. So yeah, thank you. And we'll be sure to keep you informed on how things are progressing as we move towards the fall.
keep your questions coming in. We will get as many of these as we can answered on the FAQ site. So don't hesitate to send them. Ken.
Yeah, everybody, it's, we're very anxious to get back up and running, as you can imagine, but we're going to do so only when it's safe. We're working with a number of different medical professionals, both regionally and nationally, to help us understand what we can expect in the fall. But, the safety of our students, the safety of our community is the most important thing. I know everybody's anxious for us to announce when football will be back and when the fall sports will be running, but please understand that we're going to err on the side of safety. The best thing everybody can do to help us out and help out the University of Maine is be very, very positive in what you're saying about the university and what you're saying about us in public. We want to keep people's spirits up. We want to keep people's energy up. It's really easy to believe the negatives. So please be positive about your University of Maine, and that's what you can really do to help us.
Thanks, Ken. Claire.
Well, we've been here for quite a few years and we'll continue to be here. So I hope everyone stays safe and I hope we can meet again this way. This is an interesting conversation and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Robert.
Thank you, Joan. Well, the best tonic, I think, for the slow coming spring and the isolation we're all required to attend to is to find some student stories. And if you have some grandchildren or people can send forward some sort of enthusiastic tellings about their lives, I'd recommend it. Every day we hear from students here, and we're hearing just amazing stories of all sorts of goodness and greatness. And this year, Maine Day will be about providing service from your home location. So we'll have students doing service. I'm sure many students will be cleaning their bedrooms for their mothers, but others will be doing all sorts of wonderful global activities. So we have to remember, even a day like this, that taking care of the other is the most important. So wonderful to see you. Love indoors, but we miss you.
Well, there's not a lot to add to all of that. I'll just say I'm coming up on my second year anniversary of being here. I cannot imagine a place, any other place that I would rather be than this place. And right now, the goodness and kindness and vitality and resilience of this university is just showing through remarkably. Thank you to all of you, because you're a part of it. You're part of why we are the way we are, because you came through and you left your mark and you're continuing to be a part of this university. Thank you all. Enjoy your day and let us know if you think this worked, because we can try another time too. Have a good day. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.